The Google Pixel 10a just launched. Here's everything that you need to know and my early thoughts on whether it's worth upgrading. Pricing stays the same at $499 and it looks nearly identical to last year's Pixel 9a. That said, I noticed the rear camera bar is completely flat now. Google also moved the SIM card slot to the left side, which made space for a second speaker on the bottom. The bezels are also slightly thinner this year, and Google is saying the display is around 11% brighter. Charging speeds are also a bit faster at 30 watts wired versus 23 watts, and wireless charging is now 10 watts versus 7.5, but you're still going to need a compatible case if you want to use those Qi or MagSafe chargers. At first, I was a bit worried when I first heard that the 10a is still using the Tensor G4 processor from last year and the same 48 megapixel primary and 13 megapixel ultra-wide cameras, but at least the phone is getting several software features that were previously exclusive to their flagship Pixel 10 and 10 Pro. For now, it's mostly AI camera modes like the Camera Coach that helps you take better photos with step-by-step guidance on composition and lighting. Add Me, though, is probably my favorite new feature on the 10a, which lets me add myself to a group of photos after taking that first shot. Besides that, the Pixel 10a now has satellite SOS for emergency support when Wi-Fi or cellular is unavailable. And that's really it. Overall, these updates are all pretty minor and probably aren't worth upgrading if you're coming from last year's 9a. But if you're upgrading from a phone that's a little bit older and you're comparing between the 10a and the 9a, the 10a is obviously the better phone. But if the 9a gets a price cut, which I assume it would, of like maybe $50 or even $100, you'll have to decide if that extra cash is worth it for those newer features. So let me know your thoughts on the Google Pixel 10a and if you think any of these software features will eventually find their way to last year's 9a.